Yeah, there was a couple of people that got stabbed up. One person got stabbed right here. They ended up hitting right here and came out right there. And another person, I guess, got caught going in somebody's box. They turned around, beat the living crap out of them, put hands on them, stabbed them up. He was sitting there. He got hit right here to right here, was split wide open, gushing out blood because he got caught stealing from somebody.
So, Brandon, you end up realizing, look, man, you're going to prison in Alabama, right? What's going through your mind? Are you nervous? Are you afraid? Are you like, holy shit, what's going to happen to me?
Yes, I definitely am. It was my first time going to prison and everything. First time really getting in trouble as an adult. Everything I did was juvenile stuff, and then I straightened up my act.
So, how old are you when you're heading to Alabama prison?
I'm 36 now. I was locked up for my 34th and 35th birthday.
Your 34th and your 34th. What do you go to prison for over there?
Violation of probation.
So you're on probation, but what are you on probation for?
Felony battery.
On who?
I don't know. Somebody I didn't know anything about. First time in Alabama. I was drunk in a bad space because I just got done going to court 2 weeks before I got that charge for something else that messed up my life for a little while.
So let's talk about Alabama. You're on your way to prison in Alabama. How much time are you sentenced to?
120 months.
120 months. So you're on your way to prison in Alabama. What are you thinking in your head?
At first, after I got done with classification stuff, I was nervous. I heard a whole bunch of messed up stories and everything else, and what I was told, it lives up to its reputation.
Lives up to its reputation. So what do you see when you get there?
As soon as I get there, we sit there stripped down and everything else. We go straight in there. The inmates is doing all your stuff to fill out everything for you. You don't really talk to the guards. Then you go do your medical and stuff. And within my first few minutes there, I'm already seeing somebody getting carried out on the stretcher.
What's going through your mind when you see that?
I messed up.
Are you thinking you might be victimized in this place?
Never know. Never know. From what I heard, if you're white, most likely.
From what you heard, but I'm talking about what you see now. We know, you heard it was wild, pretty bad. You walk in there. What's your first day like?
My first day I just kind of kept to myself and the people I came with, because it came with from the county and everything else, kind of just chilled with them, and you could smoke cigarettes in there and just kind of smoked cigarettes and stayed on my bunk. That's about all I did. My first day in there, it was really hectic and everything else because you're getting rushed around and stuff, and then they kept hitting the deuces off and everything else. You kept hearing the deuces going on because somebody was either wigging out. My first night there, I seen 2 people wig out. One person that actually came from our county and everything else that I do from our county that I got to talk to, and because I was worked in the kitchen at the Alabama jail before I got sent off to prison.
When you say wigging out, what do you mean wigging out? What are they on? K2?
Paper route or brown clown.
Tell the people what that is. They don't know what that is.
Paper route is a piece of paper that's basically like K2 and some other stuff mixed together, and brown clown is a tobacco that's sprayed with a whole bunch of pesticides and some kind of other stuff. I have no clue what it is, and people go straight wigging out and everything else, jump up on top of their bunk, will dive head first onto the concrete first, or pass out in the bathroom and start licking the toilets.
So these dudes are actually smoking pesticides.
Yeah, that's what brown clown is.
Does anybody press you when you get there? Anybody come up to you like, hey, what's up, man? Where you from? This is what it is in here?
No, not really. They since I was white, they would say they're just trying to try to put the K2 or the brown clown on me. I said, man, I don't mess with that, man. I don't get high.
So they're kind of walking around looking for some customers when the new dudes come in.
Yeah. Right off rip. And everybody got some knives on them. Everybody got some knives on them off rip too.
So when you see these dudes walking around with knives, are you like, damn, I need to get a knife or what?
I didn't know what to think because I knew I knew when I got to my main camp, I had to. And I was there for about a week and a half till I got shot off to Limestone.
So where were you at when you're there for a week? What prison was that?
That was the reception center, Kelby.
Reception center at Kelby. You see any violence there while you're there?
Yeah, there was a couple of people that got stabbed up. One person got stabbed right here. They ended up hitting right here and came out right there. And another person, I guess, got caught going in somebody's box. They turned around, beat the living crap out of him, put hands on him, stabbed him up. He was sitting there. He got hit right here to right here, was split wide open, gushing out blood because he got caught stealing from somebody.
White dude, black dude?
Black dude.
So black dude stealing out of someone's box, they don't discriminate. They bust his head open too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So now they're putting you on a bus. You're heading to Limestone. What do you think? Are you like, man, thank God I'm leaving this spot?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's what I was thinking. Because I got recommended to go to a level 1/ work camp. So I thought I was going to work camp. That's what classification told me, that I was going to a level 1. And they said that if we recommend something, you always go to it. Well, not in my case. Then after we left the level 1 and stuff, they told me, so everybody on the bus is still on the bus. Everybody on the bus got to laugh. 3 people got life and 1 got 25 years. And I'm like, they all looked at me and said, I thought you said level 1. I said, yeah. Nope, you're going to a max camp with us. I said, oh, shit.
And you were sentenced to 120 months, but you only got to do what, 15 months?
Just long enough to do this program. Takes about a year to do, called SAP Return, Substance Abuse Program. And they're supposed to house you in, when you get to this prison, they were supposed to house you in there. They didn't house me in there. It took me a lot longer to actually get in there to do the program.
So you're on your way to Limestone. When do you find out you're on your way to Limestone? After you're on the bus?
Yeah, after on the bus, after we left the work release, and then where we was we was near Huntsville, Alabama. Up top, they said, yep, everybody here is going to go to Limestone. That's what everybody said on the bus. And then we pulled up. That's the biggest prison in Alabama.
So you're going to Limestone, right? What's going through your mind when you finally find out, hey, this is where you're going?
I didn't know what to think, man. I ain't gonna lie. I'm from out of state, and I ain't from there. I was thinking I'll think as soon as I get off, I'm gonna have to get a knife. I don't know. I got to figure out how things go and everything else, because I ain't peeped game yet or anything else. I was nervous. I ain't gonna lie. I was nervous as hell.
You feel like crying inside, bro? Like, holy shit, my life might be.
Yeah. Yes, I did.
So you end up getting to Limestone. What's your first day like at Limestone?
As soon as we get into reception center, Lieutenant Bright sit there and said, we don't care if you're suicidal or anything else. Just go ahead and hang yourself. You'll be good. Or just jump up on top of that sink right there and dive head down hard as you can on the concrete. Then we might get you medical attention.
This is what the cops are telling you?
Yep. As soon as we arrived.
I know if that was happening to me, I'd have to be thinking like, man, what am I going to do with my life right here, man?
Yes, I was.
No one there cares pretty much, right?
No, not at all.
So once you do arrive, what about the other prisoners? Do the white dudes approach you? Black dudes approach you? I mean, what's it like for your first day?
You fend for yourself.
Fend for you. Do you meet anybody that you might hang out with? You're like, I'm going to hang out with this dude.
There was an old cat. There was an old cat I worked in the kitchen with for a little bit that went to the same camp as me, and we got put in the same dorm. So me and him and then somebody else that rode a bus from Kelby it was us 3 that clicked up together. We was all white.
What was the old man? Was he a little bit nervous too, or had he been in prison in
He,
Alabama?
he's been in prison before.
What was he telling you it was like before you got there? Was like, hey man, it's for real over here?
He said, if you're white, do not make a big store because you're going to get robbed or you're going to get a store to offer it. He told me, he was giving me the rundown while we was in the receiving before we got back there and everything else, because they had a big yard and a small yard, and the classification officer that was talking to me and taking pictures of my tattoo and stuff, he was sitting there telling me, he said, I feel sorry for you, white boy. You're not even from here. I said, no, I'm not. He's like, yeah. He told me to even get a knife.
You end up getting a knife?
Yeah, a cop gave me a knife. One of the COs on my way back there gave me one.
A CO gives you a knife?
Yeah.
Do you have to pay this cat, or is it just
no? He was a country boy. He said I know it's rough for everybody and everything else, because he said that he was asking where we all was from. He said, I'm from Florida. I just got messed up here in Phoenix City, Alabama, and he handed me a knife, and he's a lieutenant.
And he gives you what were you thinking when the lieutenant hands you a knife? What's going through your mind? Are you like, what the?
I thought he was trying to set me up. I thought he was trying to set me up for me to go to a hole.
Look, the hole might have been safer, right?
Yeah, probably so, but I was about to check in.
So you go to Limestone. This guy gives you a knife. You get in the unit. What's the daily living like in the unit?
As soon as you walk in, because I went to a B dorm, which was one of the best dorms to go to on there. It was more of older cats that's more laid back. The big yard is really messed up. I've seen some crazy stuff on my dorm and everything else. As soon as you walk in, there's a set of doors, and then there's a control booth. Then you got the right side and the left side with 78 cells on both sides. None of them ever locked down. You could go in and out of it whenever you want. And then 50 bunk beds in the day space, and you can move them around whenever you want. There's almost no boxes because they're all cut up for knives, and there are people walking around with actual real buck knives too. I've seen several people have real machetes walking around, like you go to the store and buy.
Man, that had to be. Yeah, I mean, this is prison for real, right? It's like being in prison in a third world country.
Yeah. Every time, like everywhere I went to in Kelby, because I went to K dorm, I've been to J dorm, I dorm, and where you in G dorm, where you reception. And when it rains, it floods on the inside. Everywhere in Kelby, same with Limestone. Everywhere I went in Limestone, it floods. I seen homeless people out there. My first night there was people sleeping on the floor and on the benches because they were scared to go back to another dorm, because I guess they was too scared, and they're not even in that dorm. And they count clears all the time with those same people from a whole different dorm on the other side of the compound, still over here sleeping on the benches.
Do you ever have any issues while you're there?
I was actually surprised. I was actually really surprised. I kept to myself. I didn't make stores. I made store, but I made $20 last 3 weeks, and everything else. Only thing I would get was a pack of 2 packs of rolling tops, and that was it. On each store, I didn't really have no problem. I stayed to myself. I was actually surprised, but my first week in there, I seen 47 white people get raped. They all had money. All those 47 white people that had some money and everything else that was coming in, because they brought new people in Monday through Friday. Somebody was always coming into Limestone. Every white boy that I seen that made big money and everything else, they got raped. Every last 47.
We're not going to keep using that word, but we'll say R, right? Are you talking about for their commissary or actually had their?
Yeah.
So if they got money, dudes are just
several of them. Yeah, they had something called white man beat down.
What was that? Tell us what that is. What's the white man beat down?
A couple of people, they will look around, see somebody, said white man beat down. It was mainly younger cats, and they will jump on a white guy and beat you down. That didn't happen to B dorm. That happened when I went to F dorm for a little bit.
And you never got victimized?
Not once. That only happened for like the first 2 weeks I was there. Then they stopped that because that was the pre-release and the program dorm. So they try to set it up where they got most of it off because the F dorm was the worst dorm when I first got there on the whole compound, which was a big metal building that had like 250 bunk beds in it.
So they just yell out white man beat down and dudes just start cracking white dudes.
No, they just pick a random white person, point at them, and jump on them. But it was usually somebody that was wigging out for the most part, from what I've seen.
Oh, so if someone's wigging out on dudes, they just jump on them and beat the shit out of them.
They called it white man beat down because it was usually white guy mainly wigging out.
Any of these dudes try to fight back?
No. Nope. I've seen two white dudes try to fight back. It was two white dudes got in a fight with this two black guys before breakfast one day in F dorm, and they stood up for themselves and everything else, and it didn't work before. That was before breakfast, and then after breakfast it did not work out for them. I thought they was going to die how bad they beat them, and they sitting there, they were screaming out, this is like, in case any of y'all crackers want to sit there think y'all tough and everything else and want to fight and everything else, this is what's going to happen if you touch one of us.
So how many dudes ended up jumping on them?
Half the dorm.
And when that's happening, right? I mean, you're watching this happen. Inside,
I looked over. It happened like 3 beds down from me. I just sit there. I seen it, rolled over, put the cover over my head, and pretend like I didn't see nothing anymore. And then when the cops finally came in, I looked again real quick. Their face is all beat in and smashed up. They're covered in blood. One of them was trying to get up a walk. He's walking the wrong way, falling over and stuff, and the cops yelling at him, trying to snatch him up and everything else. Because the only time I ever seen the cops was during count and chow call.
So let me ask you this, right? When this is happening, are you afraid inside for your own safety?
Yeah. Yeah, I am.
Is there a part of you that's like, damn, and I want to help these dudes, or no?
Nothing to deal with me, man. Nobody really sticks to their self. There ain't no such thing as unity in there.
If there was unity, what do you think would happen?
It would be different. I think it would be different and everything else, but I just don't believe, because I don't believe in the race separation and everything else like that, but sometimes you have to for things to work smoother, from what I was told, what I was seeing and everything else, and from other family members that's done a lot of time, what they told me.
Are you thinking in your mind, man, I just need to get out of here and never come back?
Yeah. Yep.
So your goal was just, man, I got to get out of here, man. I'm doing 15 months on this flip program. Get the hell out of here, man, and be thankful that I make it out of prison.
Yes, and I came back out on probation and came right back to Florida, and I've been working ever since then. But I seen this one dude get hit with he threw up his hand from right here all the way here, on both hands, completely split open and everything else, where he got hit with a machete and everything else. And they're always pressure washing the sidewalks down out there, because there's so many people that just walks to medical, and they go to medical and everything else, and they're bleeding all over the place and sidewalks. So they're always cleaning it up and pressure washing the sidewalks out there. He got hit because I guess he was part of the organization and everything else. Again, beefing with another one, but he was a white boy and with that organization, and he got hit up for that. Then I seen another dude get his head bashed in with a weights and everything else, because they still got weights in Alabama, because he snatched the TV down because somebody changed the TV on him, and then the other dude, when he snatched it down and broke it, they bashed his head in with some weights.
You say you only see the cops, what, for chow and what? Count time?
Count time. And then when they was doing the program, really, when it was time.
Where the cops at all this time? When there's no cop in the unit, in the dorm?
Most of the time, no. In B dorm, they was in there. In the big yard, there was a couple of them that didn't have any cops. They only let them out on the big yard. I think it was K dorm and J dorm, which was one of the two worst dorms on the big yard. And they would sit there. The only time that you seen the cops in there was when they was doing count or letting them out for chow. F dorm. No, when I first seen them, they was hardly ever in there. And two, it was like time for protocol. I seen the inmates go up in the control booth that controls the dorm and everything else. In and out to grab tablets, their tablets and stuff. Go on there, talk to the officer.
And the cops, where are they though? They're just hanging out in an office?
Yeah, or on the big yard or doing their laps and stuff. They'll come in and do counting stuff because there ain't no control. Cops don't run nothing. There ain't no control at all. The inmates run it.
So when a dude's in there getting devastated, there's no cops. How do the cops end up finding out? Does someone call the police? Someone hit the button sometimes, or
someone hits the button, or they're screaming out, "Help! I'm being stabbed" or stuff, and the cops will come by, and then they hit the deuces, and they come in, and it stops.
So
and
when somebody's getting stabbed, right, and the cops come in and they hit the deuces or whatever, do the cops come in right away and do they mean business? Are they slamming people, or they coming in real nice? Stop.
They're just coming in. Stop! We'll spray you, or they'll spray. Let's break it up. But they ain't coming in trying to ban people or nothing like that. They're just coming in yelling at them and say, "Stop!
Life has no meaning in Alabama prison.
No, it don't. Not at all.
What's something that you've seen that actually affected you mentally and emotionally?
This young white boy that wigged out, and he was sobering up. Him and this guy Fiend, both of them the same night got raped, and some guys went in the shower while they was in the shower, tied them up and raped them. And I could actually hear them screaming and stuff, and I was laying down because one of the showers was right there next to my bedroom, because you got the walkway and then there's the shower. They had 3 showers. And I stayed near the bathrooms and the showers, and everything in Alabama, from what I've seen, is pretty much open dorm. This was a big metal open door. That really affected me.
You've seen people get tied up. What do they tie them up with? Sheets,
homemade rope and stuff. There's all kind of stuff in Alabama. Like, I've seen people when they was rolling glass bowls, getting high on uppers, ice.
Man,
I've seen them smoking off a real tin full of fentanyl with real tin full off of that.
Do a lot of the white dudes get victimized because they're drug addicts? They're junkies?
Most of them, yes. That's why I didn't really hang out with a lot of them. That, and not only that, they had money. If they had too much money, target. Straight up target.
So if they got money, what do these dudes target them? They're like, yo, look, they're making them get on the phone, send their money to their families. How's it work?
Yeah. They're straight getting extorted. There was a couple times they will actually tie you up, call your family on FaceTime, and let them see you and everything else, and poke you, like barely stab you like 1 or 2 times, not like real bad, just enough to draw blood, and make their family start sending them money to their family or to their personal accounts.
Wonder what that's like for a mother to get a phone call on FaceTime and she sees her son all tied up with sheets and somebody's, poking them with a homemade shank. That's got to be, it's got to be devastating, right?
Yeah, it most definitely does.
Does the warden ever walk around?
No, I never seen the warrant once.
Who do you see walking around? Any, like lieutenants, captains? Who walks around?
Lieutenants and the officers. That's about it.
Can some people go to like protective custody to try to be safe, or there's nowhere that's safe?
They ain't really nowhere they're safe. They got a protective custody, but that's you have to qualify for that.
How hard is it to qualify?
I don't know. I've seen several people that try to get checked in. There was several people that tried to check in. They just moved them to a different dorm or a different building.
And then does it just get worse when they move them? Does it get worse for them? Like, oh, you tried to check in.
Yes, it does. Because you could go anywhere on the compound pretty much anytime. You could stay all the way on the other side in a whole different building, and I could be over here on the other side of the compound. You could come to mine and come stay. The only place you could not get touched was the faith dorm.
How about some of these dudes, right? Like you said, you put the sheet over your head and stuff like that. Was there ever any talk amongst dudes like, yo, man, we got to stick together, man. We got to try to do something or we're going to get fucked up in here? No talk, no nothing.
Nope.
Dudes
Not at all.
Were dudes just deathly afraid?
Yeah, most definitely. There was a few people that I hung out with, and we just stayed together, and we clicked up together. It was a couple of white boys and a couple of Hispanics. We got really close, and everything else. We would work out together, eat together, play cards together. Your cards are banned in Alabama, but we made them out of like little calendars or the soup cups.
I mean, that's amazing that cards are banned, but the police are bringing fentanyl in every day, right?
Yeah, fentanyl, ice. They got fentanyl, ice. I seen cocaine. I seen ecstasy. I seen Molly. I seen brown clown, paper route, K2, spice, Flocka. Pretty much everything that you want in there, you could get it.
The dudes that you're hanging out with, a couple Hispanics, a couple white dudes, you guys kind of have a pact that we're going to help each other if something did happen?
Yeah, we did.
And you were ready for that if something didn't transpire? Were you ready?
Yeah, you got to, because if they're going to ride for me, I got to ride for them.
You kept a knife on you?
I had a knife nearby, not on me all the time when I was in the dorm. But when I left the dorm, yes, I did.
If the cop is giving you a knife, right, do the other cops come in and search for knives and take them and lock people up?
Now, you don't really get locked down for a knife. They just, like, I seen the what you call basically the shakedown boys, what I call them, and everything else. The riot gear, where they come in with a riot gear and stuff. They did a shakedown. We laid on our stomachs and had our face down in the pillows. They came in there, turned up a couple of they didn't search us. They didn't search they did a shakedown, but they didn't search us, didn't search the beds, didn't search the bunks. All they did was walk around the building in the aisles and empty out the trash cans. And that was our shakedown.
You ever think there were any cops there that even cared or no?
A couple did care. There was a couple that did care and stuff. And they would help you out, like to get the medical and stuff, like if you needed to see a medical and stuff. But you consider fill out for a doctor appointment, it might take up to like 3 months before you even get seen.
You think the cops were scared too, or no?
Yeah, most definitely. There's several cops that got busted in, except for 2 cops. There was 2 cops that was, I swore they was on steroids, because there was all these Roy raging. There was only 2 cops that wasn't scared. But at the same time, they was doing shady stuff.
Do the cops stick together with each other as far as the cops go?
Yeah, they do.
Would they come in and go ahead, I'm sorry.
They definitely do, because those 2 cops, they stuck together and everything else. And if something went down, all the cops always rode together.
Man, I mean, this is, I just feel like, man, it's outrageous that something like that's going on in the United States inside, prison's dangerous, whatever, but these prisons are absolutely off the chain, right?
Yes, they are. There's people starting fires, and then you got to put it out yourself.
When you talk about people starting fires, what do you mean?
There was, like, during the wintertime, there was people starting fires, and like out there in the day space and stuff, to have a little road, just to have a fire. Or outside, like in G dorm that was behind the chow hall and everything else, is a metal shed too. They was outside 24/7, like because their yard's basically 20 feet wide by a football, like a half a football length.
So you could just walk outside at 1:00 in the morning in this prison.
Yeah. At G dorm, yes, outside, because the front door is always unlocked.
And this is a maximum security prison?
Level 4/5, yes.
These are guys with life sentences who walk around 2, 3 in the morning.
Yep.
So you
2,
could be
3 in the morning.
You could be sleeping in your bunk and someone could walk in there and stab you while you're sleeping.
Yeah, they ain't, because G dorm, F dorm, every dorm is all open bay on that downstairs, because everything, you got bunk beds in the day space where you're supposed to have the tables and everything else. There's a couple of tables, couple of benches with the TV, but there's people sleeping right there by the benches and everything else, because you got your beds, then you got your cells, and the cells is open 24/7. They never lock them down.
I've seen some videos where it said that dudes were homeless in Alabama. Some dudes were sleeping outside. Some dudes are sleeping in the bathroom. They sold their mattresses. Tell us about that.
That's usually people that's homeless and everything else, or that sold their mattress and everything. It's because they're getting high and everything else, so they sell everything. So they're laying on the floor. I seen it left and right on the benches and everything else, or they're from another dorm and they got kicked out and everything else out of that dorm. So even though they're technically supposed to be over there, and they're over where I'm at and everything else, sleeping on the bench because they got nowhere else to sleep.
Unbelievable. Do they go back to their unit for count time and then come back to the bench?
No, they stay right there with us.
So the cops don't count them in their unit? How do they get the right count?
They I don't know. They'll count it. Sometimes there will be a miscount where they'll bring out the sheets and go down and find out if you stay there or not. If they have a miscount, they usually just count how many people is in the dorm, and if it adds up right, it clears.
And what if it doesn't add up right? What happens?
They do a recount, and then after the second recount, they come by with a piece of paper with your name to see where you're supposed to be staying. If you're supposed to be staying in that bed, if you're in that dorm, that's how they know when you're not supposed to be in that dorm. Other than that, that's the only time they don't know, because the rest of the time they don't know.
Were there a bunch of people sleeping in the community bathroom there?
Yeah.
So they got nowhere to go, so they go to another unit and they sleep in the bathroom because they sold their mattress.
Bathroom, or on the floor, or mainly in the on the benches and everything.
You ever personally seen someone get murdered there?
The dude that got his head bashed in with the weight.
And he ended up dying.
Yes. And
White dude,
another dude. White dude.
White dude. What did he do wrong? Did he owe a drug debt? What did he get hit in the face with a weight for?
The TV, over the TV trick box.
And loses his life. Does it affect you? To see someone lose their life, what does it do to you mentally, emotionally? What are you going through when you see something like that?
I just think I'm praying that it ain't gonna be me, because I about died several times before I went to prison, because I've been stabbed in the lung. I got a scar from right here to here where I've been cut. I got a big scar right here on my forearm where I've been cut right there. So I about died a few times myself, because after I lost my little girl when she was murdered, it affected me a lot. And then I was on the streets a lot growing up too, and everything else. I had a hard life growing up. Like, I found my mom dead at 17 years old from a drug overdose / heart attack. So I've been through a lot of my life, but my little girl was my breaking point. And then a lot of stuff I seen in prison affected me a little bit, but not compared to what I went through before I went to prison, when I seen everything happen to my little girl.
I'm really sorry to hear that. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? What happened?
She had swollen on the brain, bleeding on the brain. She had a scar from right here all the way to right here. Both her eyes bruises, front teeth knocked out, bruise on bottom of the tongue. She had swollen and bleeding on brain from blunt force trauma. There's not what finally killed her was being smothered with a pillow. She had a fluid on the brain from that. Her left kidney and liver was lacerated. And what made me the maddest, I tried to see her for 3 days. They wouldn't let me see her at all. And after going to court for a year and a half, I found out the cops pulled the plug on my little girl and wouldn't let me, as her dad, made that decision. So I was in a bad space, but I've slowly started turning my life around when I got in prison, and it was a wake-up call for me and made me realize there was more to life.
And who did this to her?
My ex, her boyfriend. I actually know all three of his brothers. I never met him before, and this is the third time he did something with the kids. He already been investigated twice, judged throughout the 35 years, and ran everything concurrent and gave him 10.
So he was sentenced to 35 years for doing this.
The jury gave him 35 years, and the judge throughout the 35 years and only gave him 10. They couldn't charge him with murder because there was no murder weapon, and they couldn't prove that caused the death because there was too much stuff done to her. So he only got charged with felony child abuse, felony child neglect, felony malicious intent to strangle, mangle a 2-year-old infant with great bodily harm caused of death. Is what he got charged with.
And this is where, in Florida?
No, Virginia. I was my little girl was actually born here in Fernandina, where I live at, because I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, and I live right outside of Jacksonville. And that happened up in Norfolk, Virginia, back in 2017. And I just got going to court 2019, and that's when I caught this case 2 weeks later in 2019.
And how old was your little girl, man?
2 years old and 23 days.
You know, he should be crucified, bro. That dude should be crucified. What goes through a father's mind, man, when this shit happens, man? Like, in your mind, are you thinking, man, I'm going to get this dude someday? Or are you thinking, like, man, this dude deserves to be punished?
I lost control. I tried to get him in the courtroom. They kept me all the way in the back, away from them and everything else. All the cops was always around me when I was in the courtroom going to court. I lost my shit. I lost my shit one at a time. Excuse my language. When he turned around and looked at me when they put pictures of her on the screen dead, and he looked back at me and smirked a little bit, I jumped up and went to go run, and they pounced on me before it even happened and stopped me and sat me back down. I had to walk out the courtroom.
What did the bailiffs say in court, man, when they took you out? Could they feel your pain as a father?
They say, I don't know what to say to you. There ain't no words that what should be done to them.
Man, I mean, like I said, dude should probably be crucified, man. Kids are innocent, man. And when you hear stories like that, it affects me, man. It bothers me, man. And it makes me want to go upstairs and just tell my kids that I love them, and you want to be here and you want to protect them, and you want to make sure that they're always safe, you know?
Yeah, because that's one thing I was trying not to do is go down my parents' footsteps. Both of them was drug addicts. I ended up becoming addicted to drugs. I didn't do it on a daily basis. I mainly did it just to self-cope and everything else, because I got suicidal for a little bit, about killed myself a couple times, almost bled out and everything. Was fighting a lot, got stabbed and everything else in the lung, a few other places. I was living reckless for a little bit when I lost my little girl.
When you got stabbed and all that stuff, right? I mean, what was that over? Was that like a fight? Was it a robbery? What happened?
Just fighting. Just fighting.
Was that in Virginia or down in Florida?
Down here in Florida. I got stabbed at the Yoli bowling alley in the parking lot of the bar from a fight I got into with two cats. They both want to go jump on me, and I beat both of them up, and then realized I was bleeding because I seen him had a knife in his hand. I was drunk, not caring at the time. This is when I didn't really care about life. And I seen the knife in his hand, ran up, hit him, and everything else, dropped him again. And we still talk to this day. I still got the scar. I could show you right now a little bit from, I don't know, from right there in the second one where he came in. Right there.
Yeah. Man, wild life. I mean, I can tell a little bit, man, that you're affected mentally and emotionally, you know, by the things you've been through in life just from talking to you. I can hear it. I can see it. You know what I mean?
My little girl was what really messed me up. That broke me for a while. And then going to prison, getting sober, made me realize there was more to life, and I got another chance if I make it out of here. And since I've been out, all I do is work and really home. Got a good job, so I can't complain.
Let me ask you about a couple other things, and then we'll talk about when you do get out of prison, right?
All right.
You know, what was the most vicious weapons that you've seen in Alabama? Because I've seen some pretty nasty shit, you know, out there on social media, man.
The real machetes. There was one person had a gun.
Were you there when that dude was that in Limestone where the dude took the cop's gun and
No, that was a different prison. That was not far from us, though. That was not far from us. On our prison, there was a inmate that had a gun. Had
when you,
a
when you
38,
find out
38.
when you find out that a dude has a gun on the compound, what are you thinking in your mind? Are you like, what the?
Yeah, I'm thinking we're in third world country.
You're definitely in a danger zone, right?
Yeah, that wasn't on. That wasn't where my dorm and everything else was. I just seen it because he had it right there on his hip when he took off his shirt. That's when I was going to chow call. One of the times I was out there near the chow, and he was on the big yard.
Where the hell did you get a gun at in prison?
There's only one way. That's enough said. I'm sure you pretty know the only way anything that comes in there. If you don't get shoot over the fence or everything else, there's only one other way. CO.
Are dudes out there standing on the corner like they're selling dope out on the block?
If they really don't have to, they got enough clientele and they know everybody knows where to get it. They just come to them 24/7.
And if you don't pay your debts in there, what happens?
Every store date, somebody's getting beat down. You'll get beat down pretty bad the first time, and then the next store day, if you can't, they tack interest on you. If they don't do that, you only get stabbed. Then it just keeps getting worse from there.
I mean, these guys over there have no compassion, nothing, huh?
No, not at all. Especially this one guy was starting this older white guy that was in his 50s, and it was a young cat. He was probably like 120 pounds soaking wet, storing this kind of decent sized older white guy.
Just going for it.
Mm-hmm.
What about the black dudes? Are they extorting other black dudes? I mean, does that happen too?
Yeah, that happens too. But it's majority of it is white people. But yes, it does happen to them too. And they get beat down too and everything else if they owe drug debt.
So it's your day. They call your number, man. You finally made it. It's your day to leave prison. How do you feel on the day that you're packing your shit to leave?
I was thankful. I was ready to go. I was ready to put that chapter behind my life. I went back to the county, had to go back in front of the judge, got back out, stayed at a living sobriety house that somebody helped me find out the day I got out, stayed there till I was able to transfer my probation back here and came right back to Florida and been working, and I've been doing good. I'll stay out of trouble. I still got like a year and a month left of probation, then I'm done with everything.
So you walk out of Alabama prison and your boys, you're leaving them behind. Did they look like they were scared when you were leaving? Like, damn, bro, we'll see you later, man, but we're still here?
Most of them, the ones that I was with, one of them was he was just doing a class and then he was getting deported back to Mexico. The other one, he was just there to do a program. And then his custody levels dropped. The other one was there to do a program to get out like me.
So everybody was going to make it out.
Yeah.
Everybody from your crew.
Yeah. But
You're
there
going
was
to go back
lot. Huh?
Go ahead. Say what you were going to say.
But a lot of other people, they had life. But only good thing there's only really two good things about Alabama prison. If you're a level 1 in a work camp, you keep 40% of what you make out there on the streets. When you're working in a restaurant or wherever they have you working, you keep 40% and it goes to your book. They take out 60%. So you could save up a bunch of money. Or if you got a class B and 15 years and down, you only do like 35% of your time. Because I was getting total every 30 days, I was getting 75 days. I'm at not 75. I was getting 30 regular days. Yeah. And 45 on top of the 30. Every 30 days, I didn't have a write up. So that's 75 days every 30 days.
I vowed to never even go into the state of Alabama, right? When you get released.
I don't recommend it. I do not recommend it.
Don't even recommend driving through there, right?
No, I don't recommend anything about Alabama. It's a
So once you
beautiful, it's a beautiful state out there from what I've seen on the roads and stuff. Because I've been through Alabama several times before, but never really stopped by just to get gas when I've been out driving and stuff, going out towards Louisiana, Mississippi, and stuff like that.
will you ever go back through Alabama for anything?
No, I'll go around. I'll go around Alabama now.
Never going back.
No, I don't plan on it. I don't do nothing to get in trouble, man. I keep busy working and everything else. I can't complain. I just found out I'm about to have another kid, so got to start getting everything ready, man. And I got a decent job, so that whole life of me is behind.
Let's talk
And
about
you
that.
can make something of yourself.
I know you had sent me some pictures. What type of work are you doing?
You was breaking up. I did not hear you, man.
So now you're out, you're working. What type of work are you doing?
When I first got out for about almost the first year, I was doing block mason, and now I'm doing insulation and everything else. Not like house insulation; it's completely different from house insulation or spray insulation. It's way different than that. It's more like duct wrap, duct boards, uh, armor flex, armor flex tubing, metal tubing, and everything else. Foam glass, fiberglass tubing. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm learning because I'm a helper right now, learning how to be an installer. But they started you off pretty decent and everything else, and it's good job. It's actually a really good job. A lot of benefits and everything.
There's some guys looking for jobs. What do they start you off at?
I started off at $20 an hour, just as a helper, and they give you pay raises and everything else after your 90 days. And I've been there. I haven't been there 90 days yet, but pretty soon I will.
You know, after you get out of prison in Alabama, you're back in Florida. You have trouble sleeping at night?
Yes, I have. I've been like that my whole life, though.
I want to ask you though, do you have nightmares about prison?
When I get stopped by the cops and everything else, I get nervous and everything else because I think I'm automatically going to go back.
Kind of like
'Cause
some prison cop PTSD?
yes, I do.
So never no nightmares about the things that you've seen, seeing people get their head bashed in, nothing like that?
Main nightmares I do have is about my little girl.
I'm sorry to hear that, man. For real. I really am, man.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah.
Do you feel like prison? I know. Obviously, the loss of your daughter affects you. I can see it mentally, emotionally. You can see it. Do you think the time that you had spent in prison that affects you and affects your life, though, the things that you've seen?
Yeah, it did affect me, but also it woke me up to realize there's more to life, man. That there's more to life.
And when you talk about, waking up, right? You're no longer living this life. You're waking up. You're out here. You're doing the right thing. Do you feel like the things that you've seen in prison and the things that you experienced and the fear that you felt inside, do you feel like that's a motivator for you to never go back, to never commit another crime? Is that one of the main
Yeah.
motivators?
Yes, it does. It really does, and everything else.
This is some real scared straight type of shit than real life shit, right?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Because I used to never, like, for a long time, I wasn't scared to throw down or fight or anything else like that. Like, I got scars for days. I got even right here where I've been poked up in my arm, a little bit above my tattoo right there. I got cut there. Like I said on my forehead, a couple of there. Then you could even see where I've been cut right there. Then stabbed, then grazed by a bullet. For a while, I was out. I wasn't scared, but once I come to my realization when I got to prison, I was actually fearful that I might lose my life at times. And at time, that's when I actually want to live and actually come back out on the streets and start living life again. And that is a big motivator for me to stay away from the past. Leave the past in the past.
No doubt. How old are you now?
I just turned 36 this month.
Just turned 36, not going back to prison ever again.
Mm-mm. Don't ever plan on it because I did time as a JIT in the Florida camps, juvenile. I did 18 months at Hastings Youth Academy, and that was off the chain too.
But nothing like Alabama, right?
No, hands down. Like from what my dad told me, because my dad's been in prison 8 times. He just got out last year, and he died within the first 48 hours of him getting out of prison the 8th time.
How the hell did he die?
Somebody gave him a hot shot pill and then busted in the gave him a hot shot pill, and they said he had also blunt force trauma to the head. Basically, a hot shot pill is where it has a Caucasian, it's a pressed pill that has like multiple different drugs in it.
And you also lost your mom, right?
Yeah, when I was 17.
How did you lose your mother?
A heart attack / accidental drug overdose that caused her heart to have a major heart attack because she finally got clean off the drugs, and I felt bad too. How I found out because I that's when I just got done doing that time in Hastings Youth Academy. It was 2007. I got out the October of 2007 from Hastings Youth Academy. That's when it was a level 6 / level 8. Now it's a level 6, and I got out. And I was getting picked up by some friends to go have some fun. And she was like, and I knew she was sober from talking to her on the phone. My grandma told me when I got home that your mom's actually sober and everything else. And I was proud of my mom for that. But she was on uppers and downers that the doctors was grabbing her with chemo pills, and it caused her to have a overdose. And I took off that night, and she's like, I love you. I said, all right, I'll talk to you later, Mama. I forgot to tell her I love you. Bye. Back to her, and I wish I would have done that because I'm meeting at Huddle House at 3:00 in the morning. I seen somebody crying. I'm like, what's wrong, Gordon? And that's where it used to be on the island in front of Dina before it went out to Yulee, because now it's a Verizon store here. And he's like, I think something happened to my friend Tracy. She ain't answering the phone or talking or anything else. So I came home, and I walked in the bathroom. My mom was there.
You found your mother?
Yeah. My grandma was drunk, got drunk crying, and that was the second kid. My grandma was a strong woman. She had 2 kids, and a great grandbaby died on her before she passed.
You've had a lot of detrimental things happen in your life, brother.
And I'm a living testament. If I could turn around my life and actually make something of myself, so can anybody else. I want to be able to tell my story and reach out to somebody that was feeling like how I was when I was in that point where they're about at a point of no return. And I want to help people to stop that and help them turn around their life, to open up their life. There's more out there to life.
For sure. Well, listen, man, I definitely appreciate you coming on and sharing, some real personal things that you shared, with your mom and, your daughter and just the things you've been through. Anything you want to say before we get ready to go, Brandon?
No, just y'all got to leave the past alone and learn how to cope with better coping skills and live day by day, because you never guarantee the next day, man.
For sure. Well, listen, man, definitely appreciate you. I'm going to tell people, if you like what we're doing, man, hit that subscribe button. If you know someone in Alabama that's on the wrong path, maybe you should share this video with them. Hit that subscribe, hit that like button. With respect, Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Until tomorrow, we're out.